Press, Professor Clive Landis, Pro-Vice Chancellor and Principal, the University of the West Indies Cave Hill Campus, Sir Richardson, former West Indies international cricketer, Dr. the Most Honourable Desmond Haynes, Sir Wesley Winfield Hall, Sir Cuthbert Gordon Greenwich, Professor Winston Moore, Deputy Principal, the University of the West Indies Cave Hill Campus, executives and members of the senior management of the University of the West Indies, the Advisory Board of Directors and other members of the UWI Press, family members and special guests of Sir Richardson, members of the university community, distinguished guests here at the University of the West Indies Cave Hill Campus, and those tuned in online via UWITV, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I have observed all of the protocol, so the speakers who come after me don't necessarily have to run through the list. You have my permission not to do so. So at the outset, let me just clear something up. My name is Christine Randall, and I am the director of the UWI Press. Yes, my name is Randall. Some would say I am part of a publishing dynasty. As the young people say, if you know, you know. The Vice Chancellor has said that my sojourn at the university is my destiny. My father sees it another way. As the first Caribbean person to be appointed director in the press's 30-year history, it is our contribution to the decolonization project. And so, this evening we are here to celebrate, and it is my personal pleasure, since so much of what we do at the press is concentrated at our hub in Kingston. It's wonderful to connect with our constituents that we serve. We are indeed one UWI, Mona, Cave Hill, St. Augustine's, Five Islands, and the Global Campus. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for being here, and I greet you warmly. Welcome. I now invite Professor Clive Landis, Pro-Vice Chancellor and Principal of the University of the West Indies Cave Hill Campus, to bring us greetings. Professor Landis.
Thank you very much, Doyen of the Publishing House, Christine Randall. We have a protocol expert who schooled us all in protocol, and she says, you must read the protocol if you're the host. So I will read it, and then with the permission of the most senior person in the room, you would ask whether protocol can be dispensed afterwards. So I'll ask Densil if after me we can dispense a bit. Professor Densil Williams, Pro-Vice Chancellor and Principal of the UWI Mona Campus, and Chair of the UWI Press. Sir Richardson, former West Indies international cricketer, and of course the subject of the book launch today, cricket legends of Barbados, executives and members of senior management of the University of the West Indies, Board of Directors and other members of the UWI Press, family members and special guests of Sir Richardson, members of the university community, distinguished guests, members of the media, and ladies and gentlemen. A very pleasant, warm welcome this evening to this book launch in the Caribbean biography series for Richie Richardson. I had the great pleasure of meeting Sir Richie this afternoon, and we were all immersed in regional integration and the importance of integration in the development of the Caribbean, not just in the development of the game of cricket, but all of the parallels with the university and the development of the region itself. It was really a great honour to meet you as Sir Richie. I have to confess, I'm a great cricket lover. I've followed cricket all my life, and at some point about 30 years ago, when I met my wife, who's Bajan, I had to change teams. So I actually spent some time supporting another team against you, and now I support you. So this is the nature of our university. We are inextricably tied with cricket. And I'm extremely proud of the legacy that Sir Hilary Beckles has built here on this campus, the physical legacy, the 3Ws memorial, where the immortal 3Ws are buried with their wives and one of their children. And of course the 3Ws pavilion, which, is on our $5 bill. So it's right there. And so it's really in our DNA, the whole cricket journey that the West Indies has been on. We also have the interim director of the C.L.R. James Cricket Research Centre, an absolutely priceless collection of cricket memorabilia, including a manuscript, the original handwritten manuscript by C.L.R. James, 2 years before it was published by Hutchinson in 1962, and actually under a different title, dedicated to W.G. Grace and Leary Constantine. I mean, this manuscript is priceless. These are the treasures that we have in the Cave Hill campus. And I'm very pleased to be able to announce that after a lot of planning, the Faculty of Sport has put together a cricket tour, a bespoke cricket tour, which is a combination of Kensington Oval Management, Inc., so Comey, who run Kensington Oval, Cricket Legends of Barbados, and the UWI. It'll be a half-day tour every Friday starting from December the 20th. It'll be a tremendous addition, I think, to the Barbados's tourism inventory, and we really look forward to the Bajan cricket experience, launching that with our partners on December the 20th. So with those few words of introduction, and with great joy and pleasure at being able to host Sir Richie and, of course, Sir Wes, and these wonderful icons of the game, I welcome everyone to this event. Thank you.
So now let me tell you a bit about the series of which this book is a part. In 2015, Emeritus Professor Funso Ayajina made the case to the Advisory Board of the University of the West Indies Press, rationalizing the need for the Caribbean Biography series. It was felt that as the leading Anglophone Caribbean institution of higher learning that has pioneered the study of Caribbean culture and civilization, the University of the West Indies, as a socially responsible institution, was duty-bound to disseminate its knowledge to as wide a spectrum of the region as possible. Suffice it to say, the proposal was accepted, and 9 years later, we are here this evening celebrating the 10th book in the series, Richardson by Professor Densil Williams. Each book is no more than 80 to 100 printed pages, and for greater accessibility is available in all formats, print, paperback, hardback, as well as ebook and audiobook. Affordably priced, books in the series cater to the intended target audience of high school students, tertiary students, and the general public. The design of the series is distinctive, easily recognizable, and identifiable with the UWI brand. The Caribbean Biography series from the University of the West Indies Press celebrates and memorializes the architects of Caribbean culture. The series introduces readers to those individuals, well-known and lesser known, who have made sterling contributions to the Caribbean region and on the world stage in their chosen field: literature, the arts, politics, sports, business, and who are the shapers and bearers of Caribbean identity. The first book published in the series was of St. Lucian Nobel laureate Derek Walcott in 2017. As you've already heard, a further 9 additional releases have been published within the series, 2 this year alone. They include, in order of publication, Derek Walcott by Edward Baugh in 2017, Earl Lovelace by Funso Ayagino in 2017, Pan-Africanist Marcus Garvey by Rupert Lewis in 2018, Thespian Beryl McBurney by Judy Raymond in 2018, Poet Una Marson in 2019, historian, diplomat, legislator, and activist Lucille Mathurin-Mayer in 2020, cultural studies academic Stuart Hall in 2020, Martinican writer Amy Césaire in 2021, Guyanese scholar activist Walter Rodney by Rupert Lewis in 2024, and the first on a sportsman, Richie Richardson by Densil Williams, 2024. As you can imagine, we have several more books forthcoming, but immediately in the pipeline in the series are books on George Lamming, Calypso Rose, and C.L.R. James. We certainly hope to widen the reach and appeal of the series with more contributions on important figures from the Dutch, Spanish, and French Caribbean. I'm pleased to advise that notwithstanding the publication of 9 books in the series, the Caribbean Biography series was formally launched by His Excellency Sir Rodney Williams, Governor General of Antigua and Barbuda, earlier this year, with the presentation of the 10th book in the series, Richie Richardson. It is our fervent hope that this augurs well for the continuing success of the series. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we arrive at the meat of the matter, the official launch. Regrettably, our Vice-Chancellor, Sir Hilary, could not be here with us in person, but we have his recorded message. Over to you. Thank you.
It is for me a considerable joy and pleasure to participate in this book launch, this excellent biography of Sir Richard Richardson by my distinguished colleague, Professor Densil Williams. But first I would wish to congratulate the University of the West Indies Press for inaugurating this very significant project, which is called the Caribbean Biography Series. The significance of this project should be welcome by all of us. This is an opportunity for us as Caribbean scholars and researchers and writers to identify those prominent persons within Caribbean development, persons who've contributed so much to the evolution of Caribbean civilization in its multiple dimensions, and who have added impetus to the development trajectory of this region. Many of them have not been effectively covered in the literature which has been a part of the many disciplines of our university. And therefore, this series gives Caribbean writers and writers with an interest in Caribbean studies an opportunity to bring to the fore these seminal personalities who have helped to shape the world in which we live. And of course, cricket has played an important role in the development of Caribbean society and our political narrative and our sense of identity, both internally and globally. And it would be fitting, therefore, for us also to focus on the cricket discourse, on the culture of global cricket, in which Caribbean people have made a significant contribution and continue to shape the evolution of this magnificent cultural expression. It is also fitting that the subject chosen should also reflect the seminal importance of one of these Caribbean personalities, Sir Richard Richardson, an icon, one of the finest West Indian and global performers in the international arena in respect of cricket culture, who emerged from Antigua becoming a West Indies cricket captain and a very powerful influence on the iconography of Caribbean cricket culture. But the subject and the writers must be in alignment. That is, the writers must also be scholars and researchers of the highest quality, because they are called upon to interrogate the evidence, the biographical narrative of these very seminal Caribbean personalities. So the writers must also themselves be in a position to allow the gravitas of their intellect to bear upon the subject. And therefore, we wish to thank Professor Densil Williams for taking on this important task. An excellent writer taking on the subject of an excellent cricketer and cultural icon. Professor Williams, we know, is a very distinguished economist and also a very transformative and transformational administrator within the University of the West Indies. He is, in fact, from the social science faculty, which by its nature is interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary, and therefore he brings that pedagogy, that intellect to bear on the subject of the biographical narrative of Sir Richie Richardson. So let us therefore recognize that he, the author, brings a tremendous capacity for intellectual penetration of the subject, and to bring the literary skills to present the evolution of the experiences, the character, the personality, the identity of this outstanding Caribbean citizen. Now, I have read this book twice because I am fascinated by the quality of the analysis and the narrative, as well as the subject, Sir Richie himself. The language is eloquent and indeed elegant. And I really wish to commend Professor Williams for crafting a very accessible language that captures complexity, diversity, and detail, and presents it to us as pleasurable while enhancing our knowledge content. Really wish to commend Professor Williams for achieving this target. So here we have, in a very accessible way, very detailed and filled with subtlety of narrative and balance of analysis, the life and the times of Sir Richie Richardson, his evolving personality as a young cricketer, young citizens, into global icon and a personality of the late 20th century when he exploded into the international cricket scene. Captured here also is the philosophy of a leader, a young man thrust into leadership by virtue of his extraordinary performance on the field, and now required to provide leadership on the field and off the field and within the context of Caribbean culture. I think our author has captured all of this with tremendous sophistication. Now, this is a book that all of us should have in our collection. Not only our cricket collection, but also our collection that looks at various aspects of Caribbean civilizations, the art, the culture, the financial dimensions to our economies, our political narrative as Caribbean people out there in the world, seeking to have a place of dignity for ourselves in a competitive circumstance. And therefore we have to thank the writer. We thank the writer because This is an indigenous intellectual analysis of a Caribbean icon, published by a Caribbean publishing house. So in its entirety, it goes to the root of who we are and what we wish to achieve. There's a personal dimension in all of this that I have to comment upon. And that personal dimension is that both the writer, Professor Williams, and the subject, Sir Richie Richardson, are persons who I deeply admire. And for me, therefore, I would say, yes, they are two of my favorite people within our Caribbean space, and I wish to commend the two of them for coming together, for engaging each other, and allowing this pedagogy of cricket performance to emerge in a fashion that all of us can now share, benefit, and enjoy. So my thanks go out to the publisher, to the writer, and to the subject. And I hope that each and every one of you gathered here in this celebration would experience this text as deeply, as profoundly, and as pleasurably as I have done. Thank you.
Boy, we could listen to Sir Hilary all night. Always so eloquent, always draws us in. But you heard what he said. Make sure you buy the book, right? Okay. We are now going to be treated to a cultural interlude, the musical stylings of Ayana Goodman. Ayana is a second-year student violinist registered in the Faculty of Culture, Creative, and Performing Arts of the UWI Cave Hill campus. She previously attended the Frederick Smith Secondary School, where she started playing the violin at the age of 12. While at secondary school, she honed her craft by performing at various school events. She has also performed at the National Independence Festival of Creative Arts and has played for hotel audiences during the Independence Festival. She later decided to study music at the Barbados Community College, where she gained knowledge about becoming a better musician and just how music can impact one's life. After graduating from the community college, she decided to pursue a bachelor's in music at the Cave Hill campus, where she has already made a name for herself by offering her talents as a feature entertainment at high-level events during graduation season and at other campus activities. Ladies and gentlemen, you are in for a treat. Miss Ayana Goodman. I know she's beautiful, but we're just waiting for her background. Another round of applause for Ms. Goodman, please. In another few years, you won't be able to pay her to pay at your function, so please encourage her. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be treated to a conversation, a discussion between two friends, two colleagues, and as you've heard, two esteemed gentlemen. I welcome to the podium Professor Densil Williams and his subject, Sir Richie Richardson.
Thank you. Yep.
Gentlemen, over to you.
Good evening. Good. We're on? Okay. Wonderful. So good to be here, and so good to be at my favorite place, the Cave Hill campus. Yeah. Thanks to. I know it's one of my favorite places. I mean, we have to. Yeah, but thank you very much. I should recognize my colleague and friend, Professor Landis, and thank him for his generosity, and also Deputy Principal Moore and the entire Cave Hill team for supporting this cause. And also, so good to see Sir Wes and other greats of the game, and all my colleagues and friends from the campus and the UWI community as well. Our task this evening is really to expose Sir Richie a little bit more. And I am very happy that the Vice Chancellor didn't continue for much longer, because I thought he was going to say everything in the book. Oh. And therefore the members wouldn't want to buy the book. So I'm very happy that he ended where he ended. But thank you very much for coming over, colleagues, and celebrating with Sir Richie and myself and the UWI Press. Just to note that, Sir Richie, it was really a pleasure working with you on this particular publication. It was not difficult to get Sir Richie to sit down for, over 2 months to do the interviews, etc. It was one of the most pleasurable things, but then it became quite difficult when he had so much to say, and Professor Funso limited us to 25,000 words. So after going through almost 60,000 words, then the question becomes, how do you actually, 60,000, about over 200,000 words. Mm-hmm. The question becomes, how do you narrow that down to 25? And so we did a pretty good job. I hope we were able to represent Sir Richie well in those 25,000 words. But at this point, I would also like to pay homage to my really good friend and colleague and long-standing member of our board, the late Professor Funso Ayagino. Professor Funso passed away a few months ago, but he was very instrumental in the Caribbean Biography series, as you heard from our director, Ms. Randall. And so we really want to pay homage to Funso. He was a big part of this. He motivated me. He encouraged me to write this on Sir Richie. And when we submitted the proposal, he said, well, finally we get a sportsman in the mix. So he was very happy to move it forward. So I want to just pay homage to our colleague and friend, Professor Funso. Okay, so with all of that said, Sir Richie, how are you today?
I'm pretty good.
Good to see you in Barbados.
Great to be here in Barbados. I was just here a few days ago.
Okay,
so,
wonderful.
Nice to be back. I've got lots of wonderful friends in Barbados, and I'd just like to thank all my fans for coming out here tonight to support this enlightening book. I'd like to say a special hello, welcome to Sir Wes, my hero,
yes,
my icon, and his beautiful daughter, Kerry. And most of you probably might be saying, why is he so elegantly dressed? But knowing that I was going to see Sir Wes, someone who is the embodiment of sartorial elegance, I had to set the bar very high. So hence why I'm dressed like this. The last time he saw me managing a West Indies team, and I was out in the field training with the guys, wearing shorts and T-shirts, he had to go at me and say, look, man, you're the manager, you should be wearing a tie and a suit. So I'll never ever forget that. But Sir Wes, great to see you. My friend, you've been a great mentor, a great friend, and certainly my hero. Also great to see Sir Gordon Greenwich, G's as we call him. Desi, I don't see him, I don't think he made it. But you two were two of the greatest opening batsmen ever in the history of world cricket. It was an absolute pleasure playing with you guys. And I can recall many times I would be padded up And like for 2 days, I'm still sitting in the training room with my pads on, sweating, and these guys just wouldn't out. So it was really a great pleasure. Gerald Garn is not here. I don't think I see him, but I see Pedro is here. Thanks for coming. And I think Floyd is here as well. Good to see you. Coach. And to all my friends and families, thanks for coming. Mr. Bess, Dr. Bess, who has looked after West Indies players for a number of years. You still look the same, man. When I met you about 25 years ago, you still look the same. Mr. Gregory Brathwaite, Mr. Smooth, one of the best umpires in the world, actually. He's over there. And of course, Mr. Brooks, continuing from his father, one of our better photographers in the region. Good to see you, my friend. And to all my other fans, thanks for coming. Really great to be in this once again. Thank you.
Great, wonderful. I'm sure that today is a great day for you as well, because there's news from your hometown.
Yes.
That the West Indies has done well.
Yes, and we all have to really say well done to the team. On the Craig Brathwaite, Bajan, he called me before the test match.
Yes.
And asked me for a few ideas and stuff like that, which I obviously gave to him. I'm not taking any credit for the win, but Craig is the sort of guy who's a hard worker and a great leader, in my opinion. I managed him, and we got on very well from then. And he used to always come and ask for advice, ask questions, a lot of questions. And he still maintain contact with me up to today. So very pleasing for me that they were able to win the test match so handsomely.
Great, wonderful. So that leads me very nicely into Richie Richardson, biography series. So Richie grew up in Five Islands Village in Antigua, place that you will come to love once you visit the Five Islands campus. Talk to us about your early days in Five Islands Village and your ascension to the great West Indies team.
Well, Five Islands Village is about 3.5 miles from St. John's in Antigua, the western side. The most beautiful part of the island. The fact that we call Five Islands is because there's about 5 little islands just off the coast, and the village is, when it rains, in the rainy season back then, it used to be cut off from the mainland, so we were an island by ourselves. So people from the rest of the country used to look down on us and say we are from behind God's back, and we haven't got any talent and that kind of stuff. So whenever we get a chance to project ourselves, we'd make sure we do well. I can recall my mother telling me once that an Antigua select team came down to Five Islands to play against Five Islands team and were beaten by Five Islands. And back in those days, you could not represent Antigua if you came from the country. And certainly nobody from Five Islands could have played for Antigua, but a Five Islands team was able to beat an Antigua national team. So we are very proud people. Where my house is, where I was born, was on the opposite side of the cricket field. So every opportunity I got to be out there on the field, I would be out there. Before I went to school, during lunchtime, after school, I'll be out there playing cricket, practicing hard. And of course, I came from a very poor family. And my father died when I was 6 years old. So I was raised basically by my mother and also my elder sister. And we had to work hard, a lot of chores and stuff like that. But school is very important. But I always made sure that I went to school. She always made sure that I had books and that I had food to eat. But it was not easy. But I can recall when I was about maybe 8 years old, my mother sent me to the shops, and the West Indies were playing against Australia. And back then there were no television. There were maybe about 4 or 5 transistor radios in the village. And every single person in the village was glued to the transistor radio. And I can recall them talking about names like Hall, Griffith, Sobers, Kanai. And I said to myself, these guys must be really great. Why everybody's so excited about these guys? And I said to myself, I want to be like them one day. And from then I started looking at the game differently, taking the game even more seriously, start practicing harder. And one of the things I did, I realized that if I wanted to improve and improve fast, I would have to play amongst the men, which my mother didn't like. She didn't like when I was playing with the men, but I believe that that's how I was going to learn, and that's how I was going to improve. If I can hold my own against the men, then I'll be worth something. So I started doing that, started working hard, and then when I went to secondary school, at this comprehensive school at the age of 12, that's the first time I was exposed to the hardball. And of course, by then, I knew I wanted to go far, so I wasn't afraid. I took on the challenge, went back to the village, made my own pitch, and get the guys to bowl to me. And I would bat sometimes for 5 hours in an afternoon. And I'd finish, sore hands, sore back, and stuff like that. But I knew what I wanted. I knew what my goal was, and I was just destined to play for the West Indies.
A lot of people wouldn't know you're an outstanding cricketer, but what led you to cricket? Because in your early days, you were the great footballer in Antigua.
Well, football was also my passion. Matter of fact, football was my first love.
Yeah.
That same field across from my house, which I spoke about, because we had 2 seasons, 6 months of football, 6 months of cricket. So I was as dedicated to football as I was to cricket, and I actually enjoyed football more. I got a lot more pleasure out of football, because football you're always involved. You're always on the field running around. Cricket, if you made a duck, that's it. You gotta wait till you get another chance. But yes, and I played for 5 Islands at a very early age, and I represented Antigua at about 15 or 16 I think. And but I realized that there were no opportunities for me in cricket. As much as I aspired to be an international player, I didn't see the opportunity. So I decided I was going to focus on just cricket. And unfortunately, I got a very serious injury to my ankle, so I had to stop playing football, and then I started focusing more on cricket, and I just never looked back.
When you started in cricket, did you ever dream of playing for the West Indies? Or that was your ultimate goal?
Cricket?
Yes.
Yes, as I said, when I was 8 years, before I was 10, I said I want to be like these great men. So
West Indies was the ultimate goal?
Yeah, playing for the West Indies. Yeah.
Help us.
Yeah.
So you got into the West Indies team. What are the great moments, and at which point did you feel like you wanted to quit?
Oh, well, firstly, even I was working hard, obviously, playing for Antigua, and made the Leeward Islands team, came to Barbados, to the Mecca, as they would say, score 100 against the greats. And then I realized then that I was going to make it. I had the ability to make it. When I actually got selected for the West Indies to go to India, I knew it was going to happen. I felt it. But when I got selected to play my first Test match, I felt like I was thrusted into a heaven of stars. You know, you had great names like Desmond Haynes, Gordon Greenidge opening the batting, Sir Viv batting at 3, you have Larry Gomes, Malcolm Marshall, Jeffrey Dujan, Michael Holding, Joel Gunn, all these great guys. I'm saying, wow, what am I doing here? You know, but I quickly got my feet onto the ground, because I realized if I wanted to be here, I have to really start running, start working hard. My first Test match, I made a duck. Matter of fact, before I got to the middle, I had no clue. That's how I got there. I was so nervous. I felt like I floated across the field onto the pitch. And then the pitch was turning square, and G's can tell you those days, because we had 4 great fast bowlers. The pitches were like dust beds. They were just bare dirt and turned square. So I played sort of like back to a turning delivery. So the ball hit the face of the bat onto my thigh pad, onto my thigh, and the appeal umpire gave me out. And I said to myself, well, if this is Test cricket, I'm going to enjoy it, because it's going to be hard work. And I got dropped the next match, and I said to myself, I'm not going to be upset. I'm not going to blame the captain or the selectors, whoever. I'm going to blame myself, and I'm going to work hard. And if I get back there, I'm not ever going to be dropped again. And that's the case. I never got dropped until I was ready to retire. You asked about retirement. After 13 years of playing for the West Indies, I started feeling a bit tired. I think the captaincy took a hell of a lot out of me. Back then, we didn't have the support staff that like they have today. We had a manager. So Wes was manager when I first started, the captain, and maybe an assistant manager when we started back then. So all the responsibility of the team was on the captain. So I felt like I was coach, captain, counselor, father, and all that kind of stuff. Plus, I think I was too nice a guy. I didn't allocate enough time for myself, where I could maybe rest when I needed to rest, or put in the extra practice that I was accustomed to. If somebody called me to go to visit the school or to go to a hospital or whatever, I just never said no. I was like people's person. I was always on call. And I think all that had a toll on me. So I started feeling really, really tired, started seeing doctors, and they were saying it looked like I've got a virus. And eventually I saw a specialist in St. Mary's Hospital in London, Paddington, London, and he said he believed that I'm burnt out. I'm suffering from chronic fatigue syndrome. So he asked me to take maybe a year off. So I said to him, nothing wrong with me, I'm not sick. And he said, well, your body's burnt out and, you could become very, very ill. So I couldn't accept that. And I said, there's no way I can call the West Indies Cricket Board and say that I can't talk because we were going to India. And I built up the courage and I called Mr. Kamash and I explained to him. And I was playing county cricket at the time with Yorkshire, so I cut that season in half and I decided I was going to take the break. And it was the most horrible thing that ever happened to me, that chronic fatigue syndrome. I constantly felt tired. I could not concentrate. And there are times when I wanted to sleep, I just can't sleep. It was horrible, and I would not wish that on my worst enemy. It was horrible. So when I was in Antigua, the phone used to ring nonstop. The mobile phone was ringing. I'll take a call. Then somebody else called. I'll say, hold on. And somebody else called, hold on. And I forget who was speaking to the first instance. And it was just too much for me. So I decided to go away. So I went away. I went to Canada, spent some time, went on a cruise with my son. And that's when I started to recover. Then when I came back home, I changed my diet, started doing light training and stuff like that, and I started feeling strong again. Then I came back. That was, I think, that was 1995, but I never felt the same. I felt like whenever I exerted myself, I was feeling tired again. So I said, I cannot continue playing like this. I cannot give 100%. I cannot give all that I want to give to West Indies cricket. So I thought I had to take a break. And it was compounded with some of the problems that was happening within West Indies cricket, with the West Indies Cricket Board. And I said, I have to start looking after myself. I've given myself to people for all my life, and I have to really look after me if I want to live longer.
On reflection, do you think it was premature to have taken the captaincy at that time, or you could have a longer career and a longer contribution to West Indies?
Well, I didn't know what it entails because I never really had much experience as captain. And to be honest, when they called me and offered it to me, I said, no way. I mean, well, I'm the Desi. Desi was the vice captain. It's only natural that Desi should get it. And Desi was my roommate. We were very, very good friends. And we all expected Desi to get it. And it was tough on me to accept it. But then my manager at the time back in Antigua, I spoke to him and he said, well, look, I know you and Desi are very good, but it's a great honor and not many people get the opportunity to captain their country and you should not refuse it. And it was tough because, and I called Desi and I spoke to him and Desi was very good. He was very, very, even though he was hurt, was very, very, very supportive. But no, if I were to do it again, I would have done it differently. I would have been maybe a little bit more selfish, look after me more, pay a bit more attention to myself. But I have no regrets really because I am who I am. I love people, I love to give, and I don't think that I could ever change.
West Indies cricket today, are you comfortable where you are?
Well, I have not been comfortable for a very long time. Mm-hmm. I have not been comfortable since I was captain because I saw the decline, and we spoke about it. But of course, we weren't listened to. A lot of the players back then, even on the Clive Lloyd, we felt like we weren't listened to. And it was actually said that just stick to what you guys do, stick to what you know, playing cricket. But we travel the world, we play against people, we see what people are doing. And I can recall once when Australia was the manager, and he took us into a room where the Australians had on a computer a database of all West Indies players, how we bat, how we feel, whatever we do. And Courtney Walsh, first few overs, this is what they're going to do. They had all the data, all right? And so we knew that these people are planning for us because nobody liked to be beaten. And eventually they start doing something about it. And everybody wanted to beat West Indies. But I believe in the Caribbean, believe that with the talent that we had, that we will continue to beat the world forever, but it doesn't work like that. It takes more than talent today. The game has changed a hell of a lot, and you have to move with the times. We just never did. So it's going to take a long time for us to catch up. I still have hope, but it's difficult. We have to change our approach to the game. We have to put aside all the politics in our cricket, all insularity, and come together as a nation Just like how the University of the West Indies really brought the nation together. The West Indies cricket did that in the past, but still there are problems in the network. We have to start focusing on the grassroots of our cricket, putting things in place. We have to have a long-term vision and a long-term plan as to where we want to go. And unless we start doing that, things have changed, efforts are being made, but to me it's not enough. I've said for years, even when I was playing, that the history and legacy of West Indies cricket should be put in our learning institutions. And until we do that, we will not be able to rebuild that culture that we've had. And then so, when you came to me with this idea of doing this book, I was more than excited to do it. I've had many offers to do a book before, and I've said no. But then, as you know, when you came to me, I said, the fact that it's being done for the University of the West Indies and the University of the West Indies Press, I couldn't say no. I was very elated and happy to do it.
When you reflect on the nature of your career over a span of 13 years, you're retired but still remain relevant. Can you tell our audience what have you been doing so that you could remain so relevant after almost 2 decades?
Oh, well, they call me the action man, so I can't keep quiet. But I love cricket, and I love West Indies cricket, and I want to see West Indies cricket come back to the fore, but also I want to see cricket become a more globalized sport. I want it to become as popular as football, even more popular, and it has the potential to become more popular than football and soccer. I've benefited tremendously from the game. A lot of us in the Caribbean have benefited from the game. So I just want to see the game keep growing and growing, and I'm so happy to see that even women are playing now. Women have the opportunity to become professionals, and that's testament to the ICC development program. And so I believe that I always have a role to play. When I retired from the West Indies, I went to England, still playing cricket at the grassroots level. I was doing a lot of coaching. Then I managed the West Indies team from 2011 to 2016, involved with a number of young players, which I'm still in touch with today. And I believe I've had a positive impact on their development as cricketers. And then now I'm currently an ICC match referee, and working with my good friend Gregory Brathwaite there. He's an umpire. And so I'm still making a contribution to the game. I will always be involved with cricket. I will never let the game go. I will never turn my back on the game because of what it has done for me and for the Caribbean.
What is Richie Richardson doing these days?
Well, I'm playing some music. As some of you know, Curtly Ambrose and I have a band called Spirited, and we play 3-4 times a week when we're together in Antigua. When I'm away, they get a replacement who's not nearly as good as me, but the band has to go. And Curtly, he plays the bass and he sings as well, and we have a lot of fun doing that. So when I'm not doing my ICC duties as a match referee and I'm in Antigua, I'm playing with my band. I also play a lot of golf. I'm into golf these days as well. I played a few times with Gordon and Desi, and so Gary, who's not here, he's also a keen golfer. So it seems like once you play cricket, especially if you're a batsman, it's easy to transfer into playing golf. So golf is a lot different to cricket. Obviously, you got a ball that's stationary, and it's a lot more difficult, but it gives you a lot of pleasure and a lot of satisfaction. Sometimes you can have a bad round, but one good shot, and that makes you feel good for the rest of the evening.
You talked about getting out the politics out of sports. Would you consider joining a political party to assist the sporting environment across the region?
I certainly would always assist in the development of sports in Antigua, anywhere in the Caribbean, but I certainly would not get involved with politics. So Wes was a politician, Desmond Haynes was involved, and they both told me, no, don't ever get involved. So the thing is, I think politics is very divisive, and I don't know if any politicians here, but they talk about the love of country and the love of people, but I don't like the division, really, and I'm for everybody. I'm a true Caribbean person. Wherever I go around the Caribbean, I feel like home. I don't look at someone's being a Bayesian or a Jamaican, whatever. We're all Caribbean people because we are small, relatively speaking. So we need, the more we come together, the better it is, the stronger we would be in whatever we do. Economically, we've proven it in cricket. UWI have proven it that when we come together, we can be a force to be reckoned with. We can be as dominant as any country around the world. So we need to do that more. As I said to someone earlier, when I wake up in the morning and I look through my window, I can see St. Kitts, Nevis, and Montserrat. If I want to go for a visit, it's going to cost me nearly $700 US. Yet it's about $400 US to go to New York. So why is that? Why can't we have more integration? Why can't we move amongst ourselves, integrate, learn more about each other's culture, do business, come together as one, and I think the governments can do something about that, but it's not happening, and I don't know why it's not happening. So I do not see myself as a politician, and I don't think I would ever get involved with politics. I will work with whoever the government is for the development of my country, my region, but to be on a particular side, no. I have one side. One side. As an Antiguan, I'm on the side of Antigua and Barbuda. As a West Indian, I'm on West Indian side.
Excellent, excellent. So Richie, as we close, a very well-hidden secret was revealed in the book is that you married your high school sweetheart.
Well, I don't think that was a secret. Yes, when I started secondary school, my wife, Lady Arlene, she also started at the same time. Of course, at school, I never looked at girls. I looked at them, but I was never interested because I knew what I wanted to do. I believed that getting involved with girls would distract me from my sports and my schoolwork. And as much as I saw a few nice-looking girls, I was able to look the other way and remember my focus, But we were friends, and Arlene and the girls used to support me at sport a lot. When we played football and cricket, they used to always be there and supporting me. So I knew her very, very well, but it's only after I left school that we started dating. And we had our first date November 1st, 1981, which was our Independence Day. And we've been together ever since.
Performing for 13 years at the highest level must have been tough on the family. What advice would you have for young persons who are now entering the game and performing at such high level to maintain family, to maintain all the other things that they do?
Well, firstly, life, if you want to achieve anything in life, you have to make sacrifices. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, sometimes the one that you love, are the ones might suffer a little bit with you. And you really know who are really with you, who will love you, when they hang in there and understand why you have to make those sacrifices. It's a little bit easier today for the players because, of course, they make a lot more money. So they can afford to take their loved ones and their families with them wherever they go. Back then, first it was tough. We couldn't afford it. But it's not easy. It's like everything in life. If you really want to achieve, if you want to be at the top, you have to make those sacrifices.
Wonderful. The important lessons of sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
As we wind down, Richard Richardson, the biography series, if you were to say one thing to anybody who's listening, why they need to go and buy the book, what that would be?
Well, firstly, I'm going to give you the credit because from the first time that I met you, I really liked you as an individual. I think you are the most dynamic Caribbean person that I've ever come across, one of the most dynamic persons. And when I am with you, when I speak to you, I don't feel like I'm talking to a Jamaican. I feel like I'm talking to a Caribbean person. And you come across to me as someone who passionate about the Caribbean, passionate about UWI, passionate about our development, and passionate about transferring your knowledge to people. And any topic that is raised, you handle yourself very, very well. And we become very, very good friends. And when you asked me to do the book, I couldn't say no because I knew it was going to be good, just from the way that you've dealt with me and my wife. And I'm very pleased and I'm very happy. And so I think that you did a great job based on the information that I give you. You've put it across very, very well. And so far the book is going well. I keep getting a lot of complaints that people cannot get the book. On eBay it's sold out. The night in Antigua when we had the launch, it finished in no time. So I'm hoping that I can get someone in Antigua so I can help University Press to get them sold.
Excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Sir Richie Richardson. It has been a wonderful journey. The book has much more information than all that he has revealed. So I encourage you to go and purchase the book, read it, make it a gift for Christmas. This will be the greatest gift to Sir Richie and the West Indies. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very well. Thank you. Very good.
Okay. Professor Landis, I'm going to ask you to join the gentlemen here on stage, and they're going to make a presentation to you.
Yeah.
I'm in the middle.
You go to the middle here.
Ladies and gentlemen, wasn't that wonderful? We really were witness to a conversation between friends, a conversation about cricket, and a conversation about life in the Caribbean. Of course, I commend the book to you also. And it is widely available Amazon and everywhere else, and our UWI bookshop also has copies, and they're selling this evening. And now we're at that point in the program where Kerry Ann and Phyllis would murder me if I don't follow their protocol list and their order of precedence. But it is time to say thanks to all our speakers this evening, including our Vice Chancellor, Professor Sir Hilary, Professor Landis, and of course, Sir Richie and Professor Densil. We have to thank, without question, the Office of the Principal of the Cave Hill campus. They really spearheaded this event, and for that we're truly grateful. We had about 2 or 3 meetings all over Zoom. We all met each other this afternoon, and it was really wonderful for us to come together. In fact, I might just digress and say to me, it was really the embodiment of the university acting together as one UWI. I see here that we're to thank the UWI Press for assisting with the planning, but just buy the book. That's my thanks. The management and staff of the Cave Hill School of Business and Management for hosting us, and in particular, Dr. Dion Greenidge, Ms. Farida Grant, Ms. Cheryl Smith, and a very competent team of technicians for ensuring all the logistical requirements were satisfied for this evening's events. As you may know, there's a lot going on behind the scenes with the technical team. You don't see them here, but if you know Janet Carew, she had us on the manners for UWITV, as well as the technicians here at the Cave Hill School of Business. The Office of the Campus Registrar for General Event Support and our protocol guidance, our ushers for greeting and seating all of you, our esteemed guests, the security team for assisting with parking, the Office of Marketing and Communications for promotion and coverage of this event. I already mentioned UWITV, but I must thank them again. I already mentioned the bookshop, but I'm mentioning them again. Thank you. To members of the media, to our caterers, and a very special thank you to all of you for joining us this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope that you'll remain with us, have some refreshment, which you will imbibe while you are having your book signed after you have bought it. Thank you so much. Good evening.